episode of the Trailblazers talk show. This is your show where we bring in industry experts to discuss with you the ins and outs of what's running in the current days and what's working for various businesses. Today's topic is again digital transformation, and I'm sure there are a number of questions that come to your mind when it comes to transforming business operations with systems that are new. And the expert today is our guest on the show, Kamales Lardi.
Hello, everyone. Wonderful to be here. And you said that very well. Thank you.
Kamalesh is the founder and CEO of Lardi and Partner Consulting, which is a boutique firm specializing in driving innovation through digital transformation. And digital transformation is a field where only an expert can guide you with the ins and outs. Am I right, Kamalesh?
Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't say you would only need an expert, but I can say that with someone who has done it, numerous times before, it does get a lot easier because it's a fairly challenging process for any organization to go through. I've been in this space for over 25 years. I started off as someone in coding and technology implementation, and went into business advisory and consulting. So I've worked with companies like Accenture. I was the head of Deloitte Digital in Switzerland for a number of years as well before starting Lardi Partner Consulting 13 years ago. And I can say the process of digital transformation, it's not something that's new. It's been around as long as companies have used digital solutions, but it hasn't gotten any easier. The challenges remain, and it's quite unique to the fact that organizations need to do this, organization-wide evolutionary process or transformation process to stay competitive in the digital age. And as technology becomes more advanced, that transformation process becomes a little bit more challenging as well.
Right. So you started it quite early, like 13 years is a big time frame. What is the difference that you see when you started? How businesses were taking digital transformation at that time as compared to their openness today to have digital transformation in their corporation today?
Well, as I said, Nousheen, I started 25 years ago. And back then, the key technologies that we were trying to implement in organizations were things like SAP. So it was very basic, implement technology to digitize a process or digitize the way people do things. What has remained the same is the challenge around how do we implement these technologies in a business environment and make it effective, make people want to use it, make it bring the right value and the right kind of returns within the organization. What has become a lot more challenging is the fact that there are multiple elements in place today. So the technology is developing at such a rapid pace. We're seeing breakthrough technology solutions come out almost on a daily basis. It's sometimes very hard for companies to keep up with what's new in the market and to stay competitive with that. The people within organizations have also become a lot more sophisticated in terms of using technology and adopting technology in their own lives. And this has made it challenging for companies to find the right solutions to implement. The customer base is far more technology or digitally advanced as well. So companies having to keep up with expectations of customers around what should we implement to make sure that we are meeting the customers' demands and needs. And also just really focusing on traditional businesses, right? So there's something called dual transformation, where you have the traditional organization, the way it works and how it operates. This goes in a very kind of old-fashioned, I wouldn't say old-fashioned, but in a traditional way. You have the strategic planning cycles, you have the way the company has been built and operates for decades. And then you have these new technologies that really need a dynamic environment, quick decision-making, quick implementation and adoption. And so this kind of clashes with each other to a certain extent. And so finding the right balance of what you need to keep from that traditional organization that's given it a competitive advantage so far, and what you need to implement from the new world to make sure that you can survive and thrive in the future. This is where the challenge comes in.
True. What have you been doing to help the companies overcome this challenge?
So as I said, we started our company 15 years ago, and back then I left a top position in consulting in Switzerland. One of the key reasons is I wanted to look at a more dynamic way of working, which I felt what the market needed. And so within Lardi Partner Consulting, I have a set of digital transformation methodologies and frameworks that I've designed from my experience in the market. And really, it helps to accelerate the process of digital transformation. So looking at what should a company be doing, or how should they go on this journey, and what kind of methodologies, tools, and kind of techniques and kind of tactical and strategic elements could be implemented to help the company along that journey. So to a certain extent, I wanted to make this process a little bit more structured and repeatable within organizations. And so bringing these tools to the market, over the last 13 years, we've implemented about over 50 digital transformation type initiatives across industries and regions. And so we've also gathered the knowledge from these experiences, right? Every company is unique. Every organization culture is unique. And so this creates a learning every single time we implement digital transformation. But using these methodologies have really allowed us to shorten the process to a certain extent and accelerate the process as well.
I'm sure that the culture of an organization plays an integral role in this. So the more learning oriented the culture is, the better results you must be getting as a digital transformation expert.
Learning oriented, yes, definitely. So with every organization, there is a cultural nuance that either supports the transformation process or can hinder it. And every organization is unique. I like to say that, companies are like a living organism. It's made up of the systems and processes and cultures and, people that make it like a living being or living system. And so when you introduce something new to a living system, it always pushes it back and tries to maintain the status quo and tries to keep what is certain and stable. So every time we experience a new transformation within an organization, there's a little bit of resistance. There's this, either from people, from teams, or from the system of the organization itself. And so the culture plays a significant role in allowing us to, in how fast we can implement this process. But this is also why, based on the learnings of over 2 decades, I was inspired to write my book, The Human Side of Digital Business Transformation, that really helps business leaders look away from just the technology elements, which tend to be, the tangible thing that you can implement and you can very quickly see a success and you can tick the box and say, I've implemented technology. But the real success, or the element that can make or break the success of digital transformation, is that human element. So understanding how to get people on board this transformation journey, how to take them on that journey, and how to make sure that, at the end of the day, if I'm very explicit, technology is not a competitive advantage, because technology can be implemented by any company. Any solution that you think might be unique could be replicated by a competitor or a peer. And technology changes very quickly, right? It updates itself and it transforms. The real competitive advantage for companies in the future is going to be the people element, the skills, the capabilities, and the knowledge that you build within those team structures, and how loyal your people are and how they're willing to go on this transformation journey with the company. And so really focusing on that element and that, the culture of, let's take these people on a journey, let's create psychological safety, let's ensure that people are upskilled and new skilled and reskilled as required in the future, and kind of moving the organization along this journey. That's where the success factor is.
Very true. I totally agree with the fact that people readiness and preparation for the challenges that we might face in future operating as an organization are very important to take care of. How can companies overcome challenges and resistance to change that is often encountered in case of digital transformation process?
So this is where I think having the experience is very important. What I have observed over the years, and it doesn't matter which industry or region I work in, I've observed that people react to change and uncertainty in a certain way. There is a fear element, there is a resistance, there is this need to stick with what's familiar and what's stable. And people also like to have, a lot of times our identities are linked to our jobs. And so when you bring a change in a company, it threatens the identity of individuals and teams. And so this is where team leaders, organization leaders need to have a full understanding that whenever you want to drive change or transformation in a company, you have to think about the people element right at the very beginning. How is this going to impact the teams? What should be communicated? How much should be communicated? And I always favor on the side of open, transparent communication at the very beginning, telling your organization why you want to implement this transformation. So being very purpose-driven and being very open to understanding that people might resist. So this is one key factor, definitely. Within the transformation framework that I have developed, we also have elements of the people management, right from the beginning till the very end. So it goes beyond traditional change management aspects, which tend to fall short because change management typically comes at the end of the process, right? After you do strategic planning and you've developed the solution and you want to implement, that's when typically companies come up with, okay, let's do trainings, development, communication and engagement and all of that. So we start at the very beginning, understand the culture of the organization, and for that specific culture, how best do we implement transformation? And I think this is where organization leaders need to really have an eye on why we're doing this transformation, or why we're implementing a technology, what's the outcome we want to achieve, and how do we take the people on this journey with us?
Okay, very interesting. Thank you so much for this. In what ways emerging technologies such as AI and let's say Internet of Things is influencing the process of transformation and people's behavior and attitude towards it?
This is I think, a very important question. We've had this whole technology hype impacting organizations over the last few years. I find that quite fascinating. So the last 2 years has been all about AI. That's anyone talks always about AI all the time. This is one focus for companies today. Before that, it was the metaverse. Before that, it was blockchain. So the cycle of technology hype keeps going. I believe all of these technologies, I'm a technology optimist, so I believe there is a transformation potential to these technologies. They can be incredibly beneficial to companies. But I believe that companies are approaching it in the wrong way. So what I've experienced or what I've seen companies do is they tend to look at, okay, we've got AI, which is the trend now. Let's find some use cases for AI and then implement them. So you tend to have a very limited benefit when doing this because you're looking already at how do I apply that technology in my company. So what I would advise companies to do when you want to apply technologies like this is really look at what is the challenge or what is the business priority at the moment. And typically this falls into 4 categories, right? You're either looking at growth and scale, you want to grow the company. You're looking at cost efficiency or productivity, risk management, or superior experiences. So this could be experiences for customers or experiences for employees, whatever that might be. And you might have in your company challenges in one of these areas. So really focusing on, if your challenge is you want to grow as a company, what kinds of growth or where can you find this growth element? Is it with product, scaling the kinds of products you want to put out there in the market? Or is it in terms of growth across regions? Is it in terms of growing your customer base? So there's many different aspects that you can focus on. And once you've identified the focus area or the challenge, then you can look at the tech. Then you can see, okay, which technology in the market today can actually help me serve this purpose? If it's a superior experience and I want to give customers a more hyper-personalized experience at scale, then maybe we can use AI chatbots, for example, to give that sort of mimic that experience. So I'll give you an example from my own company. We have a website online, but it has a lot of information. Obviously, we've done a lot of things over the last years, and we've put a lot of that information on the website. And so one of the things we found is there was a high bounce rate, and after talking to a couple of different people who visited our website, we realized that there's too much information there. So how do we find the right information? So we have deployed a avatar or an AI, a digital human, basically. And a digital human is not just an avatar, but there's some intelligence behind it. And this intelligent human on the website, you can click on it and launch it. It can read your facial expressions through your camera as well as read your intonation of the voice, and it gets a lot of data from interactions, and it can guide you to the right information on our website. And so this gives then the visitor kind of an experience of I'm talking to a customer service agent and getting what I need, rather than just going on a flat 2D website and kind of searching for information. So it gives a completely different experience. And this is possible because AI has made this possible now. And so this is how I would expect organizations to kind of approach transformation as well.
That is smart.
You should check it out.
That is a smart way of running things, yes. Very good. I will talk to my team about this. So what advice would you give to the leaders and decision makers of growing organization at the moment?
I definitely think, purposeful transformation is very critical, looking at why you need to do something or why you think you need to do something, and having a very laser focused view on that purpose. Are you doing it because AI is cool today, or are you doing it because you really want to solve a business problem and achieve, some outcomes from it? So this is one key factor, purpose-driven transformation. The other factor is really making sure that you consider the human element at the very beginning of the process, to ensure that you're taking your company on this journey rather than just implementing a solution. So that's the key distinction. I would also really encourage leadership teams to gain deeper knowledge and insight. So there's actually research and study that shows there's a knowledge gap in leadership teams as well as board members around technology capabilities. So bridging that gap is so important because these are the key decision makers that sponsor and approve technology solutions within companies. So really understanding which technologies are valuable to your business and industry, how they could be applied, what are the risks that come with that. This helps not only transformation teams and technology teams in the company, but also people like me who go into organizations to support them, because you're able to speak to leadership teams on a level where they fully understand the impact of transformation. So these would be a few of the things that I would recommend.
My final question to you. What impact Lardi and Partner Consulting is aiming at in future through its services?
This is a really good question. You're making me think now, Nousheen. But I feel that there is a need in the market for technology, people with core technology capabilities who understand the human element. And this is the strength or the unique aspect that we bring. We are all technologists. We have a strong background in technology development and coding and so on. But we also have focused in very much on how people use technology and why companies should adopt and implement, and how companies and organization cultures are impacted by tech. So we bring these elements. And what I've done over the last, in recent years, is also deep dive more into neuroscience. So really understanding how the brain functions, why people do what they do, what motivates us. And so bringing in these elements together, I feel is quite unique for the market. And we are going into a very uncertain time where, a lot of things are changing with the tech industry as a whole, with the top tech companies as well. And so we're not sure what's going to happen with these platforms and technologies. And I think having this human aspect as a core strength is also going to be very important. And so this is where I'd like for my company to make an impact.
Awesome. I wish you all the best in this, and I believe you're already working on it, because your theory of, your proposition of merging human values with the emerging technologies is a very strong one, and we all need that. Thank you so much for today, my dear friend Kamales, and I would love to stay in touch with you. For you guys, thank you for listening to us. You can always contact Kamales on LinkedIn, and her LinkedIn profile is being displayed in the comments as well, as we have tried to show it down at the bottom of this video. Thank you so much, Kamales, for your time.